In this video, I'm going to show you how to transform your stairs from this into this. I have been wanting to replace the carpet that's on these stairs pretty much since I bought this house because it's gross. Honestly, anytime carpet on stairs, it gets gross. So I'm going to show you today how to rip that out and do something different. I'm going to start with a few different tools here. First, you're going to need some type of utility knife in order to cut the stairs, pliers to pull out the staples. I'm going to use, this is what I used to take baseboards off of the wall, but I think that I can get that under and hammer if I need to pull any extra pieces of the tack board up. Okay, so I'm going to start at the beginning of my stairs. It's already honestly kind of pulling an area here, so let's see how much I can pull off. Be really careful because I can already feel that there are nails that are sticking through right here. If you want to keep this, if you're putting a stair render down or anything, I have seen people keep this layer of carpet pad. That actually pulled up easier than I was expecting it was going to. So this is the tack strip and it's going to be super sharp, so you're going to want to be careful with that. And that is what I'm going to use this baseboard tool to get under. Danger zone. And then there's all sorts of different little staples there. So you can use just a pair of pliers and start pulling those one by one out. Okay, and just like that, that stair is done. I am gonna go back through in a little bit and I'm gonna just get all of this cleaned up with my shop vac. Obviously you could do it with an extension of your vacuum cord as well. Removing carpet is actually easier than I thought it was going to be. My house was a flip when I bought it several years ago. When I ripped out this upper set of carpet, it was obvious that they had recently replaced the stair treads. I thought that that's what would have happened with the bottom set, but that was not the case. These stair treads are most likely original to the house, built in 1978, and it required me to replace them. Now, I did attempt to save them by sanding them down, but I sanded and sanded and sanded, and it wasn't making much of a difference. And not to mention, the wood was actually in really bad shape. So, as with every DIY project that I do, it didn't go according to plan, and I learned how to replace my stair treads. So, off to Home Depot we went to find ourselves some stair treads. With the unexpected addition of 5 new stair treads and having to buy a new crowbar in order to rip out my previous stair treads, I added about $96 to this project. All right, here we go. I'm going to start with this one. I don't know why. I just feel like that's the one I want to start with. So, got this crowbar. Literally has tags and everything still on it. I'm just going to... Okay, I found it worked best to use the hammer in order to gently pop up the stair, and then I got my crowbar in there and just started gently pulling it out, working my way from one side to the other. The first piece pulled out super easily, the second piece not so much, and that's because it had been nailed in from behind the stairs. I had to be more careful pulling that one up, as well as pulling it out from the stair riser because I did not want to have to replace the stair riser. Also, as with every DIY project, this took me a lot longer than I thought it was going to. So, I would suggest keeping your stairs functional, meaning that you'll still be able to go up and down them if needed. I removed this one and then the bottom two so that I could still use my stairs. And as you get them removed, you may want to go through with your shop vac and vacuum up all the creepy crawlies that have lived under your stairs for who knows how long. If there's one thing I've learned since doing DIY projects, it's that no house is symmetrical, so more than likely your stairs are going to be slightly different in length. I stood every single one of the stair treads that I removed and measured them individually, and then I used my circular saw to cut them because I don't have a table saw. Most injuries with circular saws happen when you're holding onto the piece of wood that you're cutting, and then when it slips, your fingers go under the blades. That's why I always make sure that I have two hands on the circular saw and that my feet are very much out of the way, and this is about the only time I wear shoes. Once you have your stair tread cut, I would take it inside and make sure that it fits on the stair. Some of mine, because I was being conservative, were actually a little bit too long still, so I'd have to take it back out and take just a tiny bit off the stair to make sure that they fit. And voila! Okay, so the way that I am going to hook the stairs in is by doing a little bit of liquid nails and then nailing them into the sides. So, I'm going to do the first one. Oh my gosh. Once your stairs are secured, you're going to want to take a wood filler and fill in any of the gaps on the side of the stairs, as well as any of the nail holes that you've created. I used a small metal putty knife in order to do the sides. That way it allowed me to get in there and get super precise. But for the nail holes, I just used my finger. All right, I have finally decided on a stain color that I'm going to do. But first, before I can go ahead and start priming it, I need to get in and sand down all of the little corners where I had to put the wood filler in. I'm going to use the Ryobi multi-oscillating tool, and it has a sander feature so it can get nice and into all of those corners. I cannot express how much I love this tool. It can do so many different things and is so handy. I will link it in my Amazon store below because it is worth every penny. I used this tool for all of the corners and the fine edges, but I did go through with my actual sander and do just a run through on all of the stairs. Okay, once you have your stairs all cleaned up, it's going to be time to start the staining process. You're going to want to start with a pre-stain wood conditioner. This allows your stain to go on nice and smooth, but I have decided to go with an all black stain and it's going to make it nice and easy. First of all, obviously you're going to need your stain and something to remove that lid. I am going to use a pair of disposable gloves so that I don't ruin these nails. You're going to want a specific cloth that will take off any debris or anything that's built up on your stairs. Even though I've already stained mine, I have been going up and down them, so I need to go through and do that again. I'm going to use one of these tiny foam brushes in order to do the sides and the corners. I am not going to tape the sides. And the reason behind that is I just hate taping for paint projects. So I might regret that decision, but I'm going to be super careful, and I need to go back over the sides with white paint anyways, at which time I will actually tape the stairs. You're not going to leave your stain on for very long, so after you get it covered, you're going to wipe it off with a cloth after a little bit. So I have these heavy-duty shop towels as well as these painting cloths. For the middle section, I'm going to use this stain sponge to do the big sections. I've also grabbed one of my old paint projects so that I can place those towels that have been used or my brushes in here without worrying where I am setting that. All right, I think that is about it, so I'm gonna get started. So all of the staining videos that I watched online said you needed to do the first coat and after a few minutes wipe it off just so that the stain doesn't settle too heavy into certain areas over others, just based on the quality of the wood. However, if you're staining it black, looking back, I think I could have just stained it and left it and not worried about having to go back through and remove it. But if you are doing a wood stain, I can definitely see the benefit in wiping it off after the first coat, because it just helps it to not seep in too heavy in some areas of the wood instead of others. And once the stain had dried for a couple hours, I went back through and did the final coat. This process was a little bit longer than I anticipated just because of how long you need to wait in between doing each coat. And so once I got this one on at night, I let it dry overnight. And then the next morning, I went through and I put the sealer on the top. So if your stairs are in a heavy traffic area, as most stairs are, you're going to have to figure out how to not use them for about 2 days. So it was a good thing it's summer because I was able to go out the basement door and then in my sliding glass door in the back, but it would have been a huge pain if it was the winter. For the actual stain, I used a stain sponge, but for the wood conditioner as well as the top coat, I just used a normal brush. The directions on the can say you should use multiple layers and that you should sand in between each layer. I think I just got lazy and I'm kind of over this project, so I only put one top coat layer on and I'm going to see how they hold up. After another day of drying, then it was time to go through, tape the stairs, and start cleaning up those edges. The sides of the stairs, I'd already had to sand down sections of them because there was carpet glue and just the paint was pretty chipped at this point in time. So that's why I wasn't worried about the stain getting on the sides of the stairs because I knew I was going to have to go through and clean it up with white paint anyways. And this project is almost done. The last step is going to be the stair risers. And if you are to the point in your project that you're doing your stair risers, congratulations, because it means you're almost done. You can purchase these things called retro risers from most of your major hardware stores. Lowe's, Home Depot. Actually found them cheaper at Lowe's though, just FYI. And they are two-sided. So there's a wood side for you brave souls that stained your stairs in actual wood color. And then there's a blank side. You could paint this. I'm actually planning on just leaving mine white. So in this video, I'm going to go over how you fit these to your stair risers since these are not going to perfectly fit, as well as what I'm going to do to finish them and make it nice, crisp, and clean. You are going to start this project by measuring every single stair because each one is going to be slightly different. That's just how houses go. I did this one by one, so I would measure, mark it, cut it, and then make sure that it fit, and I would start over again on the next one. This project would be way easier with a table saw, but I did make it work with my circular saw, which means that you can too. Once you get each piece cut, I would take it inside and make sure it fits. A couple of mine were a little bit too long, so I had to go back out and trim a little bit off. And a couple were probably shorter than I would have liked them to be, but I'm going to clean that up with caulking. Once I had them all cut, I secured them with some wood glue, and then I went through with my brad nailer as well. These stair risers look so much better than I could have ever made the back of those stairs look on their own, so I just totally think it's worth spending the money for this extra step. Caulking saves lives, people, especially when it comes to DIY projects. So this is where I fix all of my tiny errors is by caulking the sides and making it all look like one uniform, clean, crisp piece. And there's something so satisfying about caulking. I don't know whether it's because I end up getting super messy and I feel like I'm a little kid finger painting again, but I like it. Then I went through with my unnecessarily large bucket of all-purpose putty and I filled in all of those brad nailer holes, allowed it to dry, and then sanded those off. Then I went through and I cleaned up with some white paint any of those sections, as well as there's just a couple skiffs on the boards. I'm not sure whether they came that way or I somehow did that. It's possible when I was cutting them. And this is the final product, you guys. It looks so much better than it did before. My total cost for this project for anything I had to buy that I didn't already have on hand was $358.24. Please like and subscribe for more DIY projects on a budget. Thanks, guys.